Okay, now ls on its own, let's just do that again, gives us, in this sort of tabbed out format, just shows us the items. ls can actually do a bit more than that. It can show us a bit more information about these items, and it can show us whether they're a folder or a file, and the permissions, and who owns it, and the date modified, and so on. Now, how we tell it to do this is we give it what's known as a command line switch. And I'm just going to show you this and then explain it. So if I run ls space and then a hyphen, but I'll call it dash L. Now this hyphen L is a command line switch, and what it means is give me the long listing for this folder. So I'll press enter here, and you see the display has changed quite significantly. We've got the same contents, but it's displayed quite differently. Now I'm not going to go into all of the detail and explain what all this listing means, but you can see we have an owner here, we have a group that owns that file here, there's a file size column here which is actually I think it's in bytes, and we also have a last modified date. That was a couple of days ago. So using the -L command line switch, we instruct ls to do its job in a slightly different way. So that's how we can give extra information to a program to alter exactly how it's going to do its job using a command line switch. Now there's actually another command line switch which is -A, which asks ls to show all the files in the folder, whether or not they're hidden, and if they're hidden they begin with a dot. So let me just run ls-a. You see now we get again a different result. We've got a lot of hidden files here that begin with a dot. .ds_store, which just stores information about how the finder looks at the file. There's some Xcode stuff in here, some other Unixy stuff that I've done. But that shows you there that -A is the command line switch that tells ls to do something different, i.e. it shows all the files whether or not they're hidden. Now I can actually combine these two switches together. I can either do it like this, which is ls-l space -A, so we just separate all of these arguments, which are the switches in this case. You separate them all with a space. There's a space here between ls and -L, and a space between -L and -A. And so those spaces just help the command line understand which bit's which. I run both of those together. It's actually scrolled off the screen, so I'm just going to use the scroll bar to go back up. You see, I now get all of the files, whether or not they're hidden, in this long listing, which is useful. So I want to just go back now. We've done quite a lot of practical stuff. Let's just go back and have a look at that command again. ls-l-a. Now the -L and -A are switches. They're specific. They usually start with a dash or sometimes two dashes, depending on which program you're using at the command line. But they, as we've looked at, they alter the behavior of that program and tell it to do something specific, like give me a long listing, show all the files. But these are switches, but they're also arguments. A switch is a special type of argument. Let me give an example here. If I wanted ls to not show me the current working directory, but list a different folder, like let's say again /library, I could give ls another argument here. So I put another space to separate that out, and then say /library. Now both -L, -A, and /library are all arguments, i.e. they're extra things that we add after the name of the program, which is ls, which instruct the program more specifically what we want it to do. But these are switches. They instruct ls to do a specific behavior, and this /library is just a plain argument because it says I want you to list /library, not where I am right now. And so those command line arguments allow you to be specific about what you want the program to do, and they're separated by that space, each of them. So if I press return on that, we now get the long listing of library, and there's only one hidden file in this case, which is .localized. In fact, it's 0 bytes, which means it's obviously just a placeholder or something like that. But the point is, because we gave those arguments which said we're telling the command line here, run the program ls, ask it to give me a long listing, ask it to show me all the files, and I want to look at the /library directory. So there we go. Now, having just taught you all that about -l, -a, there's actually a slightly quicker way to do this. Because both of these switches begin with a single dash, I can actually just combine them like this. So I can just put ls-la. Because they both have one hyphen in front of them, I can combine them together into one command, and I can just say ls-la/library, and that gives me the same result there. So what have we learnt so far? Well, we've learnt about pwd and cd. pwd prints your working directory, i.e. the directory that the command line is looking at right now, like this. And cd allows you to change that working directory, so you're navigating around your computer's hard drive with cd, so that any programs that you run from the command line know where the files you want to act on might be. So if I wanted to remove a file in my public directory, I go cd public, and then I would issue the command to remove that file, and it would know I wanted to work on it in the public directory because I've already cd'd there. So we've learnt that print working directory and change directory. And we've also learnt about how to use ls to give a file listing. And we've learnt about arguments. Arguments on the command line, which can be switches and can be just any other data that that program might need to run. So ls is a program, and we tell it the switches change the program's behavior and any other information that the program might need, like the directory that I want to work on if it isn't the current working directory. So there we go. I've talked a little bit about those things. Now, I appreciate this might be a little bit difficult to get your head around if you haven't looked at a command line before, so you may want to just perhaps go over this another time and take a little time to understand this yourself, to understand how you issue a command over the command line will take a little bit of time. So don't despair if you haven't got this first time round. But I hope this has shown some of the very, very basics on how we issue commands in the terminal and how all those bits of the command are broken up and exactly what that is doing. So there we go. That's it for the moment. I very well may come back to this subject later if there's interest to look at some more advanced things to go a little bit further in the terminal. But for now, this is it. So I'm Peter Upfold. You've been watching the Stealth Mac podcast, and I don't have the website open, but never mind. And I'll see you soon on the Stealth Mac podcast. Thank you.